Hilche Sanhedrin v'inshna mesurim lahem Perek Shisha v'Esrim. So in this Perek, the Rambam discusses the din of being Makal Dayan. The Amos, as the Rambam will say, there's a Isser min HaTeirah to be Makal Yid. There's an Isser min HaTeirah. Then there's an extra Isser to be Makal Dayan. And then there's another Isser to be Makal Anosi. Anosi would mean either the Reisha Sanhedrin, like we learned, or a Melech. That would also be considered Anosi. You know, someone that's in an authoritative position, either the Reisha Sanhedrin or a Melech. And then there's another Isser that a Ben, a Makal L'Sov. A person of Ben, a Makal L'Sov, there's a special Isser, and that Isser Be'emes is a Chi of Skila. The other three Issurim is Isur Ilav. Masha'inkin, a Ben, a Makal L'Sov, is a Chi of Skila. Yeah. The Rambam says as a Kol HaMakal Dayan B'Dayoni Yisrael, Ever B'Leisasa. Someone that's Makal Dayan is Ever Leisasa, Shenemer Elikim Leisakalal. The pasuk says Elikim Leisakalal v'nasi b'amcha leisor. Chazal learned that the word Elikim over here refers to a dayan, a bezin. V'chein im kilel hanasi. There's another lav, someone that was makal the nasi. Now nasi means echad reisha Sanhedrin agdela. So he's a nasi in the sense because he's the head of the Sanhedrin. A hamelech, or someone that's a melech, which is not the reisha Sanhedrin. He's a nasi in the sense that he's the melech over the yam. Is both cases, side by a nasi and side by a melech, is eva b'leisasa shenamar v'nasi b'amcha leisor. So there's a issur to makal a dayan, there's another issur to makal a nasi. And then the Ram continues with a dayan the nasi b'lvad, el kol makal echad mi'Yisrael. Any yid that a person's makal is leika, shenamar leisakal cherish. V'lama namar cherish, it's referring to every yid. Why does it say a cherish? Shafilu zeh she'ein shemea, even a person that doesn't hear. Is also leika al kilolasi. So you also, even though the person wasn't instire through the klola because he didn't hear the klola, but nevertheless when you makal lecherish, you also there's a chi of malchus. V'yiroli shamakal l'sakotin leika hareu kecherish. So the pashtus pshat in the Rambam is that just like when you makal lecherish, even though the cherish is not margish, he doesn't know about it. But nevertheless, you're leika because lepel he's a yid, so al that is a cotton, even though the cotton doesn't realize. But nevertheless, a Makalas HaKotten is also like, because Hareo Kecherish. But the Beis Yosef brings that the Girsa, in other Girsois and Vaisers, that's the Girsa, which is more Meduyak, that it should say, V'yiroli Shamakalas HaKotten HaNichlam Leika. And you don't finish off Hareo Kecherish. Whereas by a cotton, it has to be a cotton which is margish, the busha. Whereas by a cherish, the din is, even though he didn't hear about it, but since potentially he shayches to have busha, if he'll hear about it, if he'll get well. So at that point, now he shayches to have busha. So therefore, you're loike, even if lepel he didn't hear about it. Pasuk says clearly that you're now living makal lecherish. Mashenkin a cotton, you have to understand the difference between a cotton and a cherish. But a cotton, since at this point in time he's not royal lebusha, so over here it's not chal the iser. It's only if it's a cotton hanichlam, that's the yeroli. Shamakat mekal is a cotton hanichlam leika, and then you take out the words hareo kecher. So there's two gears here. Either it's the way it says here, so it's even a cotton she'ein hanichlam because it's similar to a cherish, or no, that it has to be a cotton hanichlam, and then it's taka shouldn't finish off hareu kecherish. Halacha beis. Hamakal is hames potter. This din of makal only refers to someone that's alive, but not to a mess. Now then the Ram continues, Hey l'makal kolodim Yisrael chayev, is loma yichad lav l'dayan v'lav l'nasi. If every person your makal is chayev, so why did we say before a special passing for makal is hadayan and makal is hanasi? Because the teretz is l'chayv ishtayim, that there's an extra iser. For every person that your makal is a chiyuv, but if your makal is someone that's a dayan, so there's two chiyuvim, and someone that's a nasi, and also a dayan, so then there's three chiyuvim. Nutzas lamat, shamakal echad miyisrael binish binisha bin godel bin kot, like the Rambam said before, Yeroli is leik achas. Vim kil dayan is leik ishtayim, and vim kil nasi meaning over here a nasi that's a chaver Sanhedrin, reisha Sanhedrin, so then is leik sholish. Uben nasi shekilu laviv, someone that's a ben of the nasi that's killed. So the nasi is saya yid and saya dayan and saya novin and Isaya's father. So over here is chayiv mishum arba shemis shleisha shel kolodom va'achas mishum oav. Now it doesn't mean that he gets 4 malchus because it's not shaychas. A ben shekilu laviv is be'emes chayiv misa. It's chayiv skila for it. So Mele, so if they will master him l'skila, so Mele he taki gets skila and he doesn't get the other malchus. And if they were mastering him lemalkis, he doesn't get malkis, because alav shnitn lasaros Mrs. Bezin, you don't get malkis. When it says chay b'shum arba shemis, it means there's an isser of 4 isurim over here. There's 4 lavim over here. You can't get 4 malkis. You could either get 3 malkis and not misa, or you could get misa and not the 3 malkis. Halacha gimel. HaMekal atzmei, someone that's mekal himself, is also leika. K'mei shekil lacherim. Shenamar hisham lecha ushmei nafshecha. Psaldin hisham lecha ushmei nafshecha. That a person is not a balabos on himself. The famous advaz that a person is not a balabos on himself. So memela, so just like a person is mekal someone else, there's a lav. So al derech zeh mekal atzmei, there's also a lav. Now ve'echad mekal atzmei ichaveri eidayin inasi is ein eleke achi yekal b'shem and hashemis. In order for the klala to be Isra Lav, is only if you use Hashem and Hashemish. Again, Yudkei, Eshin Daled Yud, Velikim, Ukietzebem. So either one of those Shemis, Oy, Bekinui, Mina Kinuyim. It doesn't have to be Shemis from the Zayin Shemis, Sheinim Chokim. It can be also a Kinui of the Eibishter. Again, Chanun, Vekano, Ukietzebem, words that describe the Eibishter, that the Torah uses to describe the Eibishter. So that also is, if you use that word, if you use a kinoi, so it's also a lav of being makal. Now then the Ram continues, v'hayel v'huchayiv v'mkilu b'chol ha'kinuyim. Since a kinoi is also a lav, is kachim kilu b'chol loshen. Sha'ashem is shekein b'magoyim l'kadosh baruch. It doesn't have to be dafka in loshen ha'kedesh. There's the shemes ha'kdeshim, which is zayin shemes she'ein m'chokim. And then there's the kinuyim, which those kinuyim are b'loshen ha'kedesh. But on the other hand, if you have a kinui of the Eibishter, or if you have a name of the Eibishter, b'shar loshen, so since we're dealing with kinuyim, so it's not mam b'shem b'sagdeshim, and nevertheless, since it's referring to the Eibishter, so that's included, that if you makal b'kinui, so the Ram says, heil v'chayiv im kil b'chol ha'kinuyim, is kach im kil b'chol loshen, is chayiv, sha'ashem shekerim agoyim l'akadosh baruch hu, is hareim kechol ha'kinuyim. They don't have a din of shem b'sagdeshim, but they're not any less than kol kinuyim. They're like kinuyim, harein kechol kinuyim. That's din number 1. So Mele the Rambam is saying that when a person is over on being mekalel, he has to be mekalel b'shem. He has to be mekalel b'shem. When the shem doesn't either shemus hagdeshim mamish or kinuyim or al derech zeh, the names that the goyim refer to the Eibishter as. V'oror bei shvua ubei klola ubei nidui. When a person uses the word oror, so that or could be used as a word shvua. In other words, when a person wants to make a shvua, and he says or, it'll be or if he doesn't do this and this, so that's a shvua. And al that is if a person says or on someone else, so you makal someone else with the word or, so that would be called a klala. And al that is if a person puts someone in an or, that's also could go into a gather of nidu. So the word or could be used as a shvua depending on the context of how it's being said. Or could be used as a shvua, ubei klola, it could be used as a klola, and also ubei nidu. Halacha dalet. Ein aloike at sheyasru bei b'fnei edem kishar kol chai v'lav. There's a chiddush b'am is by mekal, that a person is mekal even though there's no maisa, but nevertheless you get malchus. That's one of the 3 things that there's no, it's a lav she'en b'maisa, nevertheless like an olav. But on the other end, taka, you don't have to have a maisa, but on the other end, you need asra. Ein aleika at sheyasru bei b'fnei edem kishar kol chai v'lav. Aval imlei hoysu sham asra, but if there was no asra, oy shekilel b'lei shem, or he didn't use the Eibishter's name when he was Makal, and v'leikinu, kegen sha'ama oror pleni, oy shehoysa klola bo miklal advarim, he didn't say clearly the klola. It was only something that was maklal heina tishmei lav, kegen sha'amar al yehi pleni boruch l'Hashem, so Mele, the klola only came out of the implication of a klola. It wasn't clearly an explicit klola. So in these cases, ain't no leika. So he's not leika if there was no asra. He's not leika if he didn't say the Shem Hashem or a kinoi of Hashem. And al derazeh, he's not leika if he didn't clearly say out the klola. He just said the klola by implication. Halacha. Aval pisha ain't no leika. Even though lepel, if he said any of the klolas in the ways we just said, either without asra, without Hashem's name, or in a way that it wasn't clearly. Im chirev Talmud Chacham, if lepel he was mecharev, he was embarrassing, he was like cursing a Talmud Chacham, so then is menadnese, then he goes into chirev. V'im rotzu adayonim lahakesi makas mardas is also makin ve'enshneise kfi ma sheyiru. Shari Bizas Azokin. Since he was Zokin, Zeshakona Chochma, so maybe someone was Mavaza Azokin, so we learned already before. And Hilchas Tambatera, that person is Chayiv Nidui. V'im Chirav Amharetz, and if he was Mecharev from Amharetz, before we're talking about, he was Chirav Tamut Chochem, there's Menad Nesim, Chirav Amharetz, is ancient Hadayonim B'Dover, Kfi Marshat Tzot Tzichalei, L'fi HaMecharev, L'fi Zeshem Escharev. So therefore, they could give him a punishment of money, or any type of punishment, because of the L'fi Shashot Tzichalei, because it was obviously an Avli. In fact, you don't get Malkus for it. But on the other hand, it's a Dvar Aveir, it's an Isser. Halacha Vov. Ava Pi Sheyesh L'Dayin, Eile Nosi, Limchel Al Kvedi. The Dayin and the Nosi. Over here, the Nosi over here means a Nosi Reisha Sanhedrin. Doesn't mean a Melech, because a Melech Shmochel Al Kvedi, Ein Kvedi Mochel. Aval Pi Sheyesh L'Dayin, Eile Nosi, Limchel Al Kvedi. Eine Yochel Limchel Al Kilulasi. He cannot be Meichel. If someone was Mekalel him, he can't be Meichel on this Klolo. V'chein Sh'ar Ha'am, Aval Pi Shemochel Al Kilulasi, Makinas HaMekal, Shekvar Chotev in his Chayiv. In other words, since he already did the Aveira, so Mela, since he did the Aveira, so therefore he's still Chayiv Malkus. The fact that the person that he was Mekal is now Meichel, so therefore that doesn't cause that he shouldn't be Chayiv Malkus. Now the Pashtus Advarim is as a Dayan and a Nosi can't be Meichel al Kilulasi even if they're Meichel al Kilulasi before the Maisa. In other words, there's a Issa, there's a lav to be Mekal Nosi or to Mekal Dayan. Now let's say the Dayan says, I don't mind if you're Mekal me. So the Dayan and the Nosi don't have that option to say, I don't mind if you're Mekal me. That's not. In other words, so even if he was Mechal al Kilulasi and this person was Mekalim, he's Chayiv Malkus. Now, B'negea, a regular person, so Vaistu is the Pashtus Hadvarim is that he can't be Mechal as Kilulasi because Shekvar Chotev in his Chayiv. In a case where the person already was Mekalim, so now he can go ahead and be Mechal al Kilulasi. Masha'enkin before, Vaisus he could. And that would also be a difference. The Rambam asked before, what's the Chidush of the Nosi and the Dayan? If L'chura there's a Issa to Makal Kolam, the difference would be by a Nosi and a Dayan he can't be Meichel. A Nosi and a Dayan he can't be Meichel, even before. Masha'enkin, by a regular person, the Pashtus Matmois, Aval Bishamochel al Kilulasi, Maknas HaMakal. Why? Shekvar Chotav in his Chayiv. That's L'chura, the Pashtus Hadvarim. And the shaila is, l'chura, if that's the case, that a person, if he's moichel al kilulasi, before the person is makal him, so that would be considered a proper mechila, and therefore the person that's makal would be potter. So the question is, what the Rambam said before, that when a person is makal l'satzmei, he's chayiv. He brings the pasuk yisham l'chosh min avshecha. So there's an issur to be makal yourself. So l'chura, if you tell someone else that person could be makal, and he's makal, that person is potter. So l'chura, when you're being makal yourself, so obviously you're being moichel on yourself to be makal yourself. So l'chura, why shouldn't that be nichlal in this din that you're moichel and memela when a person is makal himself? So l'chura, these two dinim are a stira. On one hand, we're saying that you makal yourself, you're chayiv, and on the other hand, you're saying that if someone else is makal you and you gave him permission before he was makal, then you're potter. That's a kasha. In Igris Meisha, he discusses and he wants to say that there's a psachilik between the chilik of being makal someone else and being makal yourself. When makal someone else, it's saying, busha. And a person can be moichel on his busha. That's together of the isra of makal. Mashenk, when a person is makal himself, so that's an isra of being mazik himself. That's the shamul chorsh b'nafshecha. It's an isra of being mazik yourself. And on being mazik yourself, a person has the isra to be mazik himself. And that, it doesn't help busha. It's a davar mechudesh to explain that there's a chiluk between this chi of makal and this chi of makal. That's this din that a person that was meichel, a person was meichel after he was niskal, so then the mechila doesn't help. Aval mish nischayev nidui b'pnei shehifker bebez. A person that was nischayev nidui because he acted not respectfully towards bezin. And v'rotzu bezin limchel al kveidon v'lei nidu. We're saying over here a person that did an aveira, he was mekal, is chayev malchus. Now there's another din that a person that was mafker bebezin is chayev nidui. So on that I'm saying, a mission is chayiv nidu, mipnei sheifke bebezen, v'rotzu bezen limchel al kvedam, v'lei nidu, harishus beyodim. Bezen has a right not to give nidui, not to administer nidui to someone that's chayiv nidui. Even though Bezen doesn't have a right not to give malchus to someone that did an isser and he's chayiv malchus. And even if that person was meichel, it's not going to help. Masha'inkin, as far as nidui is concerned, that's within the rishus of Bezen to be meichel. Aber v'hu, when does Bezen have a right to be meichel? B'negei nidui shliyah b'dover hefsed b'kfei daberi. Kigen shehoyu am mevatim b'dinei teru b'dayon, when it was the matzav that people were being very disrespectful towards dinei teru and the dayonim, is heilu pokru ha'am b'dover sichem lechazik ulanish kfi mashir lem. That's not a time for Bezen to be mevater on the chi of nidui, to put into nidui someone that was mevaza or mafker bebezen. Halacha zayin. Kol hadon b'dinei goyim ubar koi shalem. If a person goes to a din in courts of goyim, the courts of goyim, afal pi shehoyu dineim kedinei Yisrael, even though lepel they paskin like Yidden, they paskin the same type of dinim like Yidden, but lepel you're going to goyish courts is harei zer Russia. Going to a goyish courts makes a person into a Russia. Ukilu cherev vehedim yad b'teiras Moshe Rabbeinu. As if he picked up a hand against Teiras Moshe Rabbeinu. As if cherev means he cursed, and vehedim yad b'teiras Moshe Rabbeinu. Shenema ve'ela mishpat mishlotosim lefneim. So we learn out lefneim v'lei lefnei goyim, and lefneim v'lei lefnei adyetis. It has to be in front of Yidden and not in front of goyim. And it has to be lefneim in front of dayonim and not in front of hedyetis. Now hoy se yad goyim tkifa ubaldinei alom ve'eni yochel le'etzim imenu b'dinei Yisrael. If a person's in a matzav that he has someone that owes him money, and lepel, that person is a strong person, and lepel, the dinei Yisrael aren't going to be able to affect what his tviyah. So what he should do is yitve'anu l'dinei Yisrael tchila. First, he should call him to a Yiddish court. Im lei ratzalovi, if this person doesn't want to come to this Yiddish court, so then is noitel rishus mi Bezen. Then he can ask rishus from Bezen to take him to a goyish court, and then umatzel b'dinei goyim miyad bal dinei. Then he could go to the dinei goyim to be matzel miyad ben dinei. You can't go straight to the goyish court. Bechlal is a issa to go to a goyish court. To go to a goyish court, that's considered a rasha kile cherev vehedim yad b'teiras Moshe Rabbeinu. However, if there's a matzav that he can't really get what his tviyah from a Yiddish court, because this person's an alam, so he goes to the Yiddish court, and the Yiddish court gives him permission to go and be matzel b'dinei goyim. Then he goes, he gets rishus mi Bezen or matzel b'dinei goyim miyad bal dinei. Brich Rachmana B'Sayan, Be'ezus Hashem, we finished Hilchos Sanhedrin.